And welcome back, everybody. I'm the Idea PC, joined by Stonefeld here on the analyst desk, and we are getting ready for the draft of game number 1 of set number 2 here on Excellence Esports Mid-League Season 2. Stonefeld, welcome back, my friend. I gotta say, I do love the globe that you've got going back there with a red light coming up underneath it in your background. I've got workout equipment, so that's not as exciting. But with that being said,
as exciting.
You know what? I appreciate it, man. I really, really do. You're the only person that probably does. But we've got Darkside going up against Elventus Lime. And, we talked about it. We harped on it so much, the importance of this matchup. Elventus Lime needing those wins to get themselves into playoff contention. And Darkside really trying to look for that extra bit that's going to push them ahead.
And already we're seeing some really strong champions getting banned away here. The Senna coming out as the first ban, a very contested pick. In this league specifically, with a 73% win rate, really, really high. One of the highest out of any champion that's been picked. The Seraphine getting banned as well. Another one that has a high win rate, over 50%. So good bans coming out so far to make sure the teams aren't getting anything that's too easy to play, too overpowered.
Yeah, no, absolutely here. And Seraphine as well, Victor. And we actually do get the Caitlyn, which has not really been picked up a whole lot in Excellency's mid-league, from what I have seen, at least from our casted games. Hecarim, though, going to be a pretty tried and true jungle pick right now in the meta. Very, very clear. Very fast, clear speed, and always has been really. There are certain metas where he is stronger, some that he's not as strong in. But right now, a very, very hot champion and can really take control of Summoner's Rift. The Samira does get the hover, and she did recently receive some buffs on the last patch, which these players are playing on. But it will end up being the Ashe. They are going to opt for that crowd control and the vision that you get with that hawk shot. A lot of utility coming out with this pick.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see what Darkside is going to pair their bottom lane with. They have this Caitlyn, and Caitlyn's a champion that in the current meta, it's really difficult to play if you don't have the right support to set it up, and it's absolutely broken if you do have the right support. They go for a jungle pick next. I wonder if they're going to pick their support in the top 3 here and not give Elventus Lime a chance to ban away some of the more broken supports. That looks like the Galio gets locked in here. A flex pick, but it could also be going to that bottom side of support.
Absolutely. Here, Galio. Honestly, tried and true champion. I love him. I really, really do. Global ultimate, has the ability to really affect the map, can provide a lot of peel for this Caitlyn. I do think that it is a great pick overall. Teemo getting the hover here by Elventus Lime, and some people may say that they have lost those Lime Mines, but they will end up getting the Karma, and I do know that that is good for some people's bingo sheets, but not mine. Sad face in the chat. But that's going to be the first 3 champions here picked up for both teams. Caitlyn, Olaf, Galio, Hecarim, Ashe, and Karma. And this is going to be one very, very fast composition that's actually on the side of this Elventus line, especially with this Hecarim and the Karma being able to kind of speed him on up. Ashe obviously going to be able to look for some of those picks. And Darkside's composition right now, if you just have this like 3-on-3 Twisted Tree line kind of monstrosity, with just these 3 champions, you would want to see Darkside kind of turtle up, wait for that engage, and then look for a re-engage here with what they currently have set up, possibly. But still 2 more picks, 2 more bans to go through, and some top lane focus now actually coming through here in the ban phase.
Yeah, the top side of the map is going to be the focus, and Elventus Lime really have some options. When Caitlyn's in the game, there's some options for your teams to just regank the Caitlyn over and over again. This is how you see a lot of pro teams beating the Caitlyn and why it maybe doesn't have as much priority in the pro scene. But they could also just play safe and play toward the top side of the map. So a lot of top lane bans going here, sort of signaling to me that we're trying to set up a carry top lane, or we're trying to play to the top side of the map and make sure that we can, secure those objectives and maybe even get a good split push going. So I'm interested to see what the picks are coming through for the top side of the map here.
I just want to say, real quick as an aside, I did get dominated after the end of set 1 in fantasy. It's not even close. I am down in last place with 161 points. We'll go ahead and throw that in the chat. I'm not ashamed. I'm not done losing. Okay, I'm not done losing in almost every single pre-show game that we have had here in Excellency. So at this point, I've come to accept it. And what we do have to accept right now is that they have picked up the Turret to go down there in the bottom lane with the Ashe on the side of Elventus, and the Camille going to get picked up for Darkside's crits. Again, in that week 1 where we had him have an absolute pop-off game on the Yasuo. It was probably one of the craziest debuts in a season that I've ever seen in the amateur scene. And it was really, really great. Also, I'm getting, hold on, beep, 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 beep. I'm getting word from production that the numbers might be wrong. Okay, awesome, great.
I hope that makes you feel a little bit better.
That makes me feel a lot better, yes, absolutely. But so, Crits had an absolutely pop-off performance on the Yasuo. And so getting to see him here on the Camille, I'm very, very excited about. Vigar and Volibear, though, going to be the last 2 pickups for these teams. And in all honesty, it kind of feels a little disjointed, I'd say, the draft from Darkside, because you have the Vigar, who maybe isn't necessarily the best pick to go alongside things like the Camille, like the Galio, like the Olaf. Caitlyn has necessarily the range to kind of be able to deal with a lot of that. But Vigar can have a bit of a tendency to be left behind in some of these fights and maybe not have the ability to dump out all of his damage at the same time. That makes it cohesive with the side of this Darkside draft.
Darkside's composition is screaming to me that they want a 1-4. They have a lot of range in Caitlyn. They have disengage in Galio. They have disengage in the Vigar cage. And I think that they're going to want to set up the 1-4 with the Camille. That being said, Elventus Lime did get the top side counter pick with Volibear. And I think Volibear is really good. It's a really volatile matchup in the top lane, but Volibear can come out of this and actually be able to match Camille later in the games, depending on the build that he goes for. So it's quite possible that this Darkside draft falls apart if that Volibear gets ahead.
It absolutely is indeed. And for all of the viewers that are joining us here right now, I do just want to let you all know that this is a pretty important match for playoff standings overall. Darkside is sitting there currently right now in 6th place, as they did go 1-1 in their last series. So they need to be able to win these games to kind of maintain and hold on to that 6th place positioning. They will be ahead of the Legendary Wolves right now in that playoff momentum. As we continue to count down the weeks here, we have week 7, week 8, week 9 left. And yes, Karma pick is there for you, Vidi. I know you were looking for it. But overall, I mean, this is a very, very important matchup for this Darkside squad. Additionally, Elventus Lime really had a rough start of the season. Kind of were down and out on their luck. Didn't really start with a whole lot of wins. They were at one point, I believe, 10th place in the league standings, and they have actually improved on that currently right now. They are sitting in the 8th place, actually. So good for them. They are a couple spots, though, still off here, but they really need to kind of make some strides here to get ahead of the curve. A 2-0 here in this series would be absolutely massive for them. It would put them tied with Darkside at 16 points, and depending upon how the Divine Ascension Ruby and Legendary Wolves matchups go, let's say Legendary Wolves and Divine Ascension Ruby both went 1-1 in their next series, you have a possible 4-way tie, actually, between Darkside Wolves, Divine Ascension Ruby, and Anarchy Lime, depending on how all these things pop out. So, I mean, we're getting to the point now where we are 2.5 weeks left until playoffs are going to be set up. I mean, it's so tight here. So every single win, especially against the other 3 teams that are stuck in this kind of mid-standing muck, are so important, Stone.
Yeah, there's some important implications, obviously. And again, I've said it before, and I will say it again because I'm so impressed by these teams. Absolutely bringing it. If you look at Elventus Lime's composition, it's possible that they could have picked a lot safer here. But instead, they go with Ashe and Karma and Tarek, and they're saying, we're going to team fight you. You know, we're gonna have Hecarim and Volibear diving on you, and we're going to fight. We're not going anywhere. And I really like the composition they've put together here. I like the Karma pick. It fooled me in the draft. I'll tell you that right now. I was like, oh, it's a Karma support. And now they're putting it into a solo lane. And I just think it's a lot of fun.
Yep, absolutely indeed. Oh man, I can't wait. Honestly, I was so excited to be able to watch crits in that first week. And, I believe this is the first time that we're actually getting to see a Darkside again on the broadcast. So, I'm very, very interested to see what he's going to be able to put up for us here in the top lane this time around. He did role swap. And, after talking to some of the Darkside players, they did mention that they weren't necessarily winning as many games as they would have liked to have, obviously, but they wanted to change something up. They needed some kind of revitalization to the squad, and they said, okay, Crits, let's try going up towards the top side, and Coach, as great of a top laner as he is, let's try going down to the mid. So they're changing things up on this roster. They know that it is crunch time here in these final weeks, and this draft is set and ready to go with all these players locked in. But I'm just so excited to see these teams taking these kind of risks, right? Seeing how they develop throughout the season, seeing the storylines that can be drawn from this, and eventually it leads up to some really, really awesome games that we have for all the Excellency viewers, and I'm so excited. I mean, honestly, I would love to see Elventus Lime actually dominate this series just from a story point perspective and actually get themselves that 2-0 this week, and then see Wolves and Ruby go in like a 1-1 fashion in their next games would actually put us at that four-way tie. I think that'd be absolutely awesome. So that is something that I'm really, really looking forward to, possibly in this league and in this game, and it's going to be interesting to see how it all shakes out, Stone.
Yeah. I want to see some teams fighting for their playoff spot. I want to see them bringing the best compositions that they can put together. And going back to your point about Darkside, I think that they made a really good decision. I've watched a few of their games, and I'm looking at it and seeing that Coach is really, really good in team fights at picking the right targets and CCing the right targets so the carries can get to them. And Crits has been just a mechanical genius. And I think that this 1-4 composition could really, really benefit them. Even as a composition to take down some of the other teams. Tonight, we haven't really seen a variety of looks from teams. We've seen a lot of people just pick team fight. We're gonna come around, the objectives, and whoever has the gold lead is gonna win. And so I want to see this Camille really get ahead, get on a side lane, start taking down some turrets while the rest of the team is grouped, start using their teleport advantage and these sorts of things, track those TPs, track the jungler, and see if you can get a different look.
Absolutely, indeed. But with all of that being said, my friends, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to see you all out there on Summoner's Rift as we've got Gungeon and Mac Dewey on the Rift, getting ready to cast you game number 1 of set 2 of the Excellency Mid League. Darkside up against Elventus Lime. Do not go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back. Catch you on the flip side.
Hello, summoners. Welcome back to the Rift. We're continuing on our coverage of week number 7 here in the Excellency Mid League, and we've got a spicy matchup for our second set of the night. It's Darkside going up against Elventus and Gungeon. This is an important matchup as we were talking about getting all ready and loaded up onto the Rift, just how much this is going to impact playoffs.
Yeah, in terms of playoff standings, right now, Darkside is sitting at 15 points, while Elventus sitting at 13 points. If Elventus can take the 2-0, they will be tied in that 6th seed. This is going to be really important for Elventus. Again, if you believe in Lime Time, if you believe that Elventus can make the playoff push, energies need to be sent out to all of the Elventus players, because this is going to be the game that kind of decides it. Because if, as a surging team, you need as many of these games won, because to build the confidence, build all of that energy that you think that the direction that your team is going for is going to be right. But there's going to be a face check here.
Utsumi is going to be forced to flash away from there as the undertows are going to land onto the Taric. Overrush has got to be careful. He's going to look for a Taric stun that lands. Zongi is still pressing forward. Darkside, they want this level 1 invade. They want the Olaf to pop off. Undertow after undertow. It's the accident happening, and first blood is going to go over to Darkside.
And we were talking about in champs, like, this cannot happen. In terms of overall, in both of the team comps, we saw that Elventus kind of picked for this big 5v5 pocket comp. You have the Ashe Taric Karma as this big bubble that kind of keeps the Ashe safe. Now that this bot lane doesn't have Flash on Utsumi, it doesn't have Cleanse, and Zongi is able to steal the blue buff as well, it is going to be very dangerous for anybody on the side of Elventus Limes' bot side to play up, because if they play up, Rice will flash on you, he will taunt you, and you will die.
And initially, looking at this draft, kind of how it unfolded, we got kind of flashbacks to Season 10 as the Karma and Ashe were locked in first, and it wasn't until the 4th pick on red side that the surprise Taric came out. In Gungeon, now that the Taric Ashe is behind, this is going to put him in a tough spot.
Again, they're very susceptible to getting engaged on by Galio anytime they ever try to push up the lane. And with Old Scratch taking the Halo Blaze on the Caitlyn, this tells me that they want to go for lane domination. They want to push in waves as much as possible. And then once this wave fully crashes in, they'll try to get a freeze off and have Zongi come down, path down to the bot lane, and try to make a difference. But top lane, fight.
It's going to be up to the solo laners on the side of Darkside, and if you notice, fans coming back, returning to potentially see Darkside on the Rift once again. I think they were on stream at least 1 or 2 times in the past couple weeks. Coach and Crits have actually swapped lanes to try to make some adjustments, to try to make one final playoff push to see if this arrangement works.
Yeah, and again, it's going to be an important, because Crits was... We saw him play a lot of the hyper carries. We saw him early on play like a beautiful Yon game where he played like, like 17 and 5 and just absolutely stumped. So taking your carry into that top lane where he can just go for those 1v1 matchups is not going to have as much effect on the map overall. But if Crits is that hyper carry that they want to play around, they want to build around, setting him into a lane where it's so punishing when you have such a dominant player like that could be the way for Darkside to kind of turn around their season and make the push into the top 4 or the top 5.
Of you with bingo squares on another monitor, do take note, Crits and Professor Claps both without flash, so you can go ahead and X that square. Gungeon, I kind of want to talk about Elventus Lime, though, a little bit more, because like Darkside, they're also a team trying to adjust mid-season to maybe see if another game plan can work better and maybe generate some success. Warrior Guy on this Karma pick kind of speaks to that.
And again, Warrior Guy, we saw him, especially early on, play a lot of the carries, a lot of the... Ooh, Not's going to go for the top lane play. But again, always get baited by tanks. Don't get baited by tanks, ladies and gentlemen. They will always let you down. But again, we were talking about it. Warrior Guy was a player, especially early on. He was going to play things like the Orianna, the Cinder, something that can have a little bit more of that carry there. But as Elventus Lime is kind of rebranded, try to change what their playstyle is. And this was something that Knots talked about last week when we did do the interview with him, that they've had a little bit of, in terms of overall shot calling, in terms of overall playstyle. So now this is kind of doubling down. We have this comp that is primarily centered around the bot lane of Overrush and Utsumi, trying to keep them safe, trying to kind of build out this juggernaut comp in the bot lane. So with Warrior Guy going on the Karma, a little bit less agency, but a lot more team support.
As we're going to see him take the brute of a lot of Viger trades, the rebranding indeed for Elventus. But right now, this game has been all Darkside, as the first Drake of the game is going to be secured by Zongi. And this Olaf that we were hoping got off to a solid early start isn't doing half bad so far.
Yeah, and again, that's what happens when you had that almost disastrous early game for the side of Elventus. They weren't exploited in terms of just the summoner loss, but they did end up just losing all control of that bot side river, which led to Zongi picking up the early dragon. And again, dragon stacking is something that we've seen in Excellency Mid League be very strong as a win condition. We've seen 22-minute Ocean Dragon Souls, 22-minute Infernal Souls as well. So getting that early stacking, especially for a team that does end up kind of getting outskilled in terms of just overall ease of execution into the late game, is going to be really important. Because again, if you have crits with, right now, it's either going to be the Ocean Soul or the Mountain Soul. If you have crits with an Ocean Soul, or you have Zongi with like a Mountain Soul, they become so tanky and so unkillable that they can kind of just disregard the Taric ultimate at all. Be like, okay, you want to go invulnerable? We're going to wait right there until you're out of invulnerability, and then we'll kill you again.
Yeah, we do see the Hawkshot get thrown out. Overrush spotting a very empty jungle as Zongi has been doing work. Professor Clap's going to be trying to go for this scuttle, but sees the coach is rotating, and Zongi on the Olaf is going to be taking everything on this rift. Professor Claps, though, has to be careful. No vision, doesn't know what's going. The flash taunt comes in, writes every meal, misses the justice punch, but he's still going to try to make this one work. The damage from Coach, good grief, that was something from the Viger. Well done there. That's going to be Darkside still finding advantages.
And that's what happens when you have such a bot lane lead. We saw that Coach was able to push in mid, and that the bot lane advantage just was translated into that blue side jungle, and Zongi picks up another blue buff. Again, keeping Professor Claps down as much as possible, but top lane, I'm not going to let it bait me. I'm not going to talk about it too much. Unless you guys press ultimate buttons, I'm not going to let you guys bait me into this. Going back in terms of overall just game states, again, that early game is kind of, you're seeing the consequences of it. When you do end up getting overall bot lane river control, it leads to Zongi being able to come in, get into Professor Clap's jungle, and Coach does pick up the kill as well.
Oh, you might have Crits picking up a nice kill there onto Knots. You blink and you might have missed that one. The Ignite surprise coming from this Camille pick. Crits doing his homework, not getting fooled by Knots' pocket volley bear pick that we saw catch one Brain Boys off guard.
He needs to be careful here. Professor Claps is invading, but again, Crits could roam down, does have the Hextech ultimatum too, so he might just be dead.
Coach doesn't have ultimate, the damage not coming through, but Zongi with a decent flank. The hook shot is going to miss there from Crits.
Oh my god!
The Ragnarok coming in. Zongi with a 2-level lead is clapping the Professor. Warrior Guy 222 going to be knocked out next as Darkside pick up more kills. That's going to be almost now a 3,000 gold lead.
And Mr. Olaf does not take kindly to you stealing his jungle. Zongi just presses the flash key. It looked like after Crits missed the E hookshot that the play was kind of dead, but Zongi said, no, that is my blue buff, and this Hecarim is falling dangerously behind. Again, Hecarim is a very hyper-scaling jungler, but when you do get invaded over and over again, get killed off, and you're at this point, it gets really scary because Zongi can get to a point where he's so far ahead. It doesn't matter if you scale into the late game because you won't make it to the late game because we'll just bash your head in early.
If the Viger damage is going to be this strong, if Coach is going to be getting this farmed up, he doesn't have a lot to worry about going up against the Karma in lane, and this is opening up the rest of the map really nicely as another taunt is going to come through. You got to be careful walking in the bushes as Knots barely going to be able to escape with the Stormbringer. That's going to be the flash burned out of the top laner, and this is kind of what we wanted to see played around with the strong Camille pick. Isn't that right, Gunjan?
Yeah, and again, I think that Darkside is kind of using our caster notes against us because it feels like they're just progressing the narrative over and over again. You see the bot lane cut. Oh, mid lane.
Enchanted Crystal Arrow's coming in, but it's gonna just barely miss. Coach still taken low. Utsumi looking to try to finish this one off. The stopwatch gonna buy some time. Coach, he's still alive. They can't finish him off.
I can't believe he gets to survive there. Coach kind of just swag walks out of the mid lane there, and they committed so many resources and just nothing, and it is getting bad to worse because Darkside's also going to pick up the top lane outer tower, and now this carry threat of crits is just getting bigger and bigger. Oh, he's going to kill him.
A lot of damage on the volley bear, but crits is getting equally low, barely going to be able to walk away. Remember, no flash, not unable to finish off the Camille pick, but look at the rest of Elventus Lime. They're going to be able to finish off that dragon and even things up 1-1. It is going to be an Ocean Rift and a potential Ocean Soul.
They do end up kind of stopping that dragon stacking scenario, but in terms of just overall game state, it is looking so bad for the side of Elventus Lime, because right now Darkside is up 4k gold lead. Crits, who we talked about as being this carry threat, because he's gonna be the one that kind of disrupts this bubble comp of Karma, Ashe, and Taric being able to hex like ultimatum onto one of the squishier members and kind of zone out the rest. He is so far ahead right now in terms of just overall gold, sitting at a 1,300 gold lead just over his laner as well. And now it feels like Knots can't even walk up to the lane because there's a threat. He just dies to the Ignite Camille.
And plus, with that, you also have the synergy from this Darkside composition of once Rice every meal decides to maybe leave the bot lane after turret plates fall, crits just becomes more and more powerful once the rest of the team is able to follow up on that that engage coming through with the Hextech ultimatum locking people in space. Now almost getting to a 6,000 gold lead as Elventus are kind of stuck in a pretty tricky situation, but they're starting to, I think, kind of scale up as some critical ultimates are going to be coming up.
Yeah, and it's going to be really important when these level 11s kind of tick up for the side of Elventus, because, again, they do have a lot of powerful ultimates that don't require any sort of... Oh my god, he's dead.
Oh my goodness, Utsumi going to be locked up. No chance to bring in the Cosmic Radiance. You don't get to look at the stars this time. Wait. Crits now caught in a 1v3 situation. Warrior Guy 22 able to roam up. The Hextech ultimatum gonna be used, but crits, there is nowhere left to run. The horse is gonna come in with the onslaught of shadows. Professor Claps making sure the kill is picked up, but look at the rest of the map, Gungeon.
Yeah, again, they have to commit 3 members, because I was gonna mention it. I actually hadn't seen Warrior Guy go up for that roam, because if Warrior... Oh, he's dead. Oh, no.
He's dead once again. The ace in the hole gonna come through. The Cosmic Radiance not going to be able to save him. This is what we were worried about for Elventus Lime. The saving ultimates can't come through if the damage is so strong from Darkside.
Yeah, and I know that a game's going badly when I'm just saying, oh no, he's dead, because there's just no chance of outplaying. The amount of, again, at the start of that play was Rice catching out Utsumi, and when you break up that pairing of the Ashe and Taric, they're just so susceptible to being dove. And in terms of just overall plate gold, right now, Darkside has taken 13 plates to Elventus' 0. That is building the gold lead in itself, regardless of the kills. And doing this entire time while members like Professor Claps have to kind of overcommit into the top lane to try to deal with the monster that is crits. Zongi has already built over a 27 CS lead on the jungler. He is so far ahead right now. And for the side of Elventus Lime, they just need to catch a little bit of reprieve. If they can just make one of these engage, one of these side lanes, punish one of these situations, they can try to get to those first item spikes, and hopefully their comp can try to carry it through. But right now, it is not looking good, and Darkside is running away with it.
Noting the shot heard all around the league. Meme City has fallen to Glaive, but we're not out of Darkside just yet as crits. Did that look like a crit maybe coming from the Camille? Nope, it's just the Trinity Force power spike coming through as he's handling everyone that's coming up to the top lane. The Enchanted Crystal Arrow from Overrush is going to be too late as Coach flashing forward is going to burn the cleanse out of Overrush there in crits. Oh my goodness, Gungeon, he's activated.
Carry players when they go to other lanes also still carry? What the hell? Crits is just absolutely dominant. Oh my god, he's dead. No.
Poor guy, barely able to survive with the fake force. What are with these mid laners just walking away?
And he's good. Zoggy's able to get out of that, all calculated, all planned. And my favorite is Warrior Guy pinging the Caitlyn heal. He's like, guys, we might be 9,000 gold behind, but at least Caitlyn healed that fight, and he's dead. Guys.
Rice every meal with these taunts just so on point throughout this entire game. Right now, a 10,000 gold lead as we haven't even hit the 16-minute mark, and the kill discrepancy isn't even that great between the two teams. It's just been an objective-focused game plan going completely right for the side of Darkside. This role swap with crits and Coach is paying off in a big way, I think.
Yeah, and Coach was just able to play. We didn't talk about Coach much, except that early level invade where he got the kill. But again, he was just able to play mid very passively, very safely. And that's what I kind of don't like by the side of Elventus, because you do have a... Oh, he's dead.
Call that the quote of the game. Not going to be dead just yet, as the baby cage not going to be able to contain potentially Elventus line for much longer as they continue trying to look for scaling back into this game. But here is the synergy with the Galio Camille coming through, but crits, you don't have the rest of the team there. It's a 5v2 in Elventus Live. Find an important pick. Meanwhile, Zongi continuing the PvE strategy. He says, don't worry, guys, I got the Drake.
And again, that's a great pick by the side of Elventus, kind of taking the pick that's handed to you. Chris just tries to overcommit. Tries to overcommit onto Overrush and just has to deal with the comp that Elventus did build with the Tark ultimate going down. He wasn't able to get much burst. And this is kind of where, again, it is a passable mistake. It is a mistake that does happen because you kind of feel like you're on top of the world. You try to make an overcommit, but it is those kind of mistakes that lead to comebacks happening. The comp for the side of Elventus is still stronger. Even if they aren't stronger as members, the comp in terms of the whole 5-man bubble is still stronger from the side of Elventus compared to the side of Darkside. So they do need to be smart ending this game out, because the longer you let this game drag, the more and more items do build up onto the Karma and the Ashe, and that can become a big problem.
It is important to note how good of a game the old Scratch is having on this Caitlyn. Right now, level 11 in a pretty substantial CS lead over the Ashes. That's going to help Darkside control these upcoming objectives and try to still, I think, avoid fighting while spreading the map thin with crits in the side lane. They're playing around this Camille really well.
And they have just the vision control to kind of overforce on these plays, because they can really see where the members of Elventus are kind of trying to move around. And if you see, the big thing that's going to be the problem here is that Professor Claps is sitting at level 9. He's not able to pick up a single farm from his jungle. He's kind of just walking around as a human ward, and it becomes really difficult because now he needs to transition himself from being some sort of carry threat to just being a body for Overrush to just hopefully peel your AD carry as much as possible. And that's the big problem that Elventus faced when they get so far behind, is the lack of damage. When they did end up putting Warrior Guy onto the Karma pick and taking the Tark as well, they kind of lost having some sort of mid lane flexibility, maybe a pick like an Orianna, Cassiopeia, a control mage that can kind of supplement the damage. And so you put all of the eggs into the Overrush basket, and the basket did not hold up. It just kind of fell through. And now you're staring down an 11k gold lead barrel, and it gets scarier and scarier.
We'll have to wait and find out. Maybe Professor Claps can potentially look for a big objective steal, but Rice every meal has just been finding picks every single place on the map. Overrush going to be taken down so quickly as this Galio pick has been massive.
And it looks troll from the side of Overrush, because you're like, why is he out there? How is he getting picked off? But he has to grab gold somewhere. He's the main carry for this comp. They have to try and do something. They're not rolling over from the side of Elventus, but it's just so hard because if you look at the vision control that Darkside have built up, that entire topside jungle is completely pink warded, wards all over, all of the entrances are warded, so they're just kind of being able to roam around everywhere, and anywhere that Elventus walks is unsafe.
Look, even Zoggy just, this is my jungle now, right, Claps? I didn't think I was stealing or anything. I just figured all these camps on the red side of the rift belong to me. I mean, that just seems natural, but looking at the potential for this composition, it's slowly, or pardon me, quickly fading away. Is already Darkside going to be trying to look for this Baron? The Taric counter engage, it may not be able to become relevant if the game's going to be opened wide open like this.
Chance to steal, so they do just get off it. They're just trying to burst the Hecarim down here. Oh.
That's going to be a huge ultimate burn, the Cosmic Radiance that we've put such a heavy influence on in our discussion, Gungeon, because looking at the draft just on paper, it's supposed to counter everything Darkside wants to do, but at this point, when everything's going their way, how can you hope to stop it if you're Elventus?
The hope is that somebody on the side of Darkside overstep. We saw Crits try to go for the 1v5 hero, I'm the anime protagonist play, and if that happens, if he tries to be Levi Ackerman and jump into 5 members, there's a chance they try to get a pick off. But in terms of just overall play, they can bait that Baron over and over. Oh my god, he's dead. Sorry. I just see member, and it feels like right now for the side of Darkside, it's just see hero, kill hero, and there's not much that Elventus can do. And we saw it. They baited the Baron. They got Professor Claps to use the Onslaught of Shadows, to use the Taric ultimate as well, and now they have no chance of trying to contest the dragon at all.
With those critical ultimates not available, how can Utsumi hope to try to keep Overrush alive if he's not just invulnerable to damage? It gets a little tricky when dealing now with a Rabadon's Deathcap Viger coming through, and I don't see a lot of magic resist picked up just yet on the side of Elventus.
No, not at all, and I'm pretty sure Vagar is right now sitting at some sort of... He's sitting at 150 stacks of his passive.
Oh my gosh.
500 AP that he's going to hit you with. This is one of the saddest Hecarim builds because he has the Triforce at 11 minutes, and he's kind of just walking around hoping that he doesn't get one shot by any member.
Let's see now if Darkside are going to be able to play around this big objective correctly. They're trying to keep Baron Nashor aggroed. Professor Claps with the Onslaught of Shadows. He's looking for a steal. Is Darkside going to give him the opportunity? Now trying to look for the flank, but Crits is there for the team, looking for the pick onto Professor Claps. The root from the Everfrost. That's going to be a quick kill. Coach deleting the enemy jungler. Professor Claps just taken off of the map. Overrush going to be hit by the ace in the hole, but walking away. This is all Darkside coming through objective after objective, making this game look so easy.
And great play by Darkside there. They had the control. They knew that they didn't have to try and 50-50 it. And when they take the Crits TP, they just use the ulti to make sure that Professor Claps has no chance of getting into the pit. They secure the Baron, and now it is just reaping the base. You should be able to take top inhibitor. You should be able to take mid inhibitor. Oh, this Taric ulti is going to be really big because now that the Taric ulti is not up, they could just get dove.
With the Baron minions and with the range advantage from this Caitlyn pick, the traps make it so hard for Elventus to try to look for a way to defend their base. They also don't have a lot of wave clear because of the direction of their composition. It makes this difficult position just that much more hard to manage because they didn't get ahead in the early game, or they let Darkside get ahead too quickly in this early game for this one. It again is a set of 2, so Elventus Slime will have an opportunity to try to come back in this series, but right now it's looking kind of grim for them as Rice Every Meal going to be pushing in the bot lane, but the rest of the team still focused on the rest of the base. They have to be careful not to get caught out.
These lane allocations are just hilarious to me because you have Rice Every Meal, the Gallia support, just kind of escorting all the minions in, but he's going for it.
Knots is going to be able to run away. Warrior Guy not going to be able to land that root as the stun from Utsumi is going to miss, but the Onslaught of Shadows is going to be used onto Coach. They want to try to get a pick. The Enchanted Crystallero is going to miss as Coach. The damage coming from this Viger is seriously real. There's no magic resist to protect yourself from the Mad Yordle. He's just going to be marching in as Darkside taking over. Look to try to solidify their playoff position. That's all 3 inhibitors falling. That's the first Nexus turret. Crits trying to look for the pick. Is going to use the X-Stack ultimatum. There's the Gallia ultimate onto Crits. Rice Every Meal going to be able to land a 2-man taunt, but that's not going to be enough as Old Scratch going to be able to 1v1 the ADC coming out on top. It's a 5v3 now for Elventus Slime as they're going to look for one final base defense, but it's not going to work out. Darkside convincingly take game 1.
Great game by the side of Darkside, and at 25 minutes, they pick up the win with a 15,000 gold lead. What a dominating performance by Darkside, showing why they deserve to be in that playoff top 6. And again, it gets closer and closer because when you do end up picking this win, Elventus have to take the 1-1. You have to come back. You have to come back stronger. They had a good game plan, but they just were not able to execute. And it felt like every single lane from the side of Darkside got ahead after that level 1 invade. What a great game by Darkside, and I am excited to see what they cook up in game number 2.
Ideal for fantasy points for us tonight. A low kill, low assist, kind of back and forth match as Darkside in such controlling fashion, starting, as you were saying, with the strong level 1, and rightfully so. They looked for that because they had the Olaf pick. It's going to be a really exciting to look at exactly how Elventus is going to try to respond in game number 2, because they've kind of been an enigma with how they've been rotating these drafts, with how they want to try to use Warrior Guy 22. But some adjustments do seriously need to be considered going in, because this just really didn't cut it.
And if I'm the side of Elventus Lime, again, you have a person that plays mid lane a lot. Coach is just doing the role swap right now with crits. Try to abuse him. Make him be a little bit uncomfortable, because Warrior Guy can be a win condition for you. So try and make some things happen. They tried to kind of go too hard in that, let's just late game scale. Let's try to build the Taric, Ashe, Karma comp, and once one piece of that comp falls behind, it just gets weaker and weaker. And the craziest thing was, we never even saw a crits and Galio ulti combo ever in that game, because it never needed to happen. It felt like they were just rolling over. Yeah.
At the end.
Yeah, they did it at the next, like they did it to try to fountain dive people. Like that was the craziest part. They never had to execute their comp perfectly because they were so far ahead that any fight that Darkside they took, they just won.
Well, Style Esports, you're coming in at the right time, because our wonderful analyst desk of Idea PC and Stone is going to do a fantastic job at breaking down just how Darkside took over Elventus.